Happy day, October 2nd, recording in the afternoon. I had to do yet another run up to the collection that we picked up a couple months ago. Van run with my dad. 2 huge glass, I guess they're called Curio cases with the shelving. I can't believe we got one of them out of the house. And bless my dad, who is 81, and his ability to just power through. He's been dealing with some stuff with his hands, but I mean, dude is strong as an ox. So we loaded that up. There's more boxes of stuff, more figurines, more books. I haven't looked through it. I just sat down here so I can knock this out so I can get to the gym because, as you know, it's my day off. Today we're going to talk about Pete Rose. Rest in power, Pete Rose. 23 years, I believe, in the majors. I had to pull up the old baseball reference so I can, because some of these stats are just so impressive. 4,256 total hits, hit king. He also had an MVP. He had Rookie of the Year, 3-time World Series champ, Silver Slugger, 3-time batting champ, 17-time All-Star, 2-time Gold Glove, a World Series MVP, and even a Clemente Award. Most of his time was with the Reds, then the Phillies, and then a couple years with the Expos. Most of this, I think, people who know about Pete Rose, he's synonymous with gambling and betting on baseball and getting banned from working in the major leagues. Now, there's a really great take. Go watch the Dan Patrick Show. It's like a 14-minute video. Andre shared it with me this morning. And Dan Patrick has the best take on this. Many people confuse the ban as a lifetime ban. No, it's a permanent ban from working in Major League Baseball. It's not a ban from the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame is the Baseball Hall of Fame, not the MLB Hall of Fame. So now most of the time, Baseball Writers of America and the folks that run the Baseball Hall of Fame align with the MLB. But the MLB doesn't decide who gets into the Hall of Fame. So I think that's a big distinction to make. Everybody says, oh, the MLB won't let him in. It's not up to them. But I do think if it was up to the MLB, they probably wouldn't let him in. You know, let's face fact. It's a bunch of old writers. I guess there's some new writers now, but it's a bunch of old dudes that are sticking to these old rules, and they're just curmudgeon-y, and they don't want to budge. Now, on the other hand, Pete didn't really apologize for what he did. Maybe he felt he didn't have to, but I think it probably would have gone a long way to people changing their minds and having the permanent ban, not lifetime ban, lifted. Because it could be lifted any time. And now folks are saying, well, is it just, is it the right thing to do to let him in after he's passed away? Is it patronizing? I mean, I think it is patronizing. What's worse is I keep seeing this ad using Pete Rose to promote betting now that gambling is legal, to where back then, you couldn't bet. Although it's part of the MLB bylines, you can't bet on baseball. He was betting on his own team to win. But the thing of it was, that was a rule with MLB. It wasn't a baseball rule. That was a Major League Baseball rule. We have to remember that the Hall of Fame is not run by the MLB. And Dan Patrick does a good job explaining this. And, I think ultimately, to me, the Hall of Fame is a museum. Pete is a big part of the story. He should be in there. And my buddy Andre made another really good point. You don't have to do the whole fanfare and induction ceremony if that's part of the deal. But he needs to be in there. He's not enshrined in the classic way, but, he's in there here and there with highlights and stuff. But I think there needs to be some dedication to Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. There should have been already. He's got the most hits. Same thing goes with steroid guys with big numbers. Put an asterisk there. Barry Bonds is a big part of baseball. And why are you going to have him on the broadcast but then not put him in the hall? You can't have both. And then how are you going to promote sports gambling using Pete Rose's image and not have him in the hall? Again, baseball's oh, we shouldn't do that, but they want to benefit and get the money. I think that's where I'm at, is don't be hypocritical. Just own it. Again, baseball writers, it's a museum. And it is special, but it's part of the story. You're ignoring a winner. And we know that, over time, like every civilization that wins a war, they put up their statues, they put up their buildings, they fly their flag. Well, Pete has the most hits. You got to put him in. Like the winners get to take down the other countries' flags and monuments and all this stuff. That's just how it works. I mean, this is definitely off topic, but think about, this is how I think about, like the Civil War. Like, yeah, that's a part of history, but you lost. So you got to take down the monuments because you didn't win. You shouldn't have a monument up if you lost. Like, if George Washington didn't become the first president, he wouldn't be on Mount Rushmore. He wouldn't have, his monument up. But if you have a statue of like the Confederate president, well, they lost. So again, help me understand that one. But back to the Hall of Fame, winners should be in. You got the most hits. That should be in there. It should say Pete Rose has the most hits. Like, it should be a bigger deal. It's super sad that he passed because he was like one of those guys that was signing a bunch and loved talking baseball. You saw him on a bunch of broadcasts talking with like A-Rod and Frank Thomas and teaching them hitting even after they retired. I saw Pete Rose probably 8 different times in the same spot in Vegas. I think it was in or near the Luxor in like, one of those mall areas, and he'd be signing balls and hats and stuff. Like clockwork, I think a couple times a week usually. And I was always there for work, so I'd see Pete Rose. I got a couple things signed. And then just yesterday, somebody was in here and, fitting, bought a Pete Rose signed baseball that we had. And now we put up a cool feature in the shop just to my off screen to my right, employee of the month, and we have a signed Pete Rose picture. It's pretty sweet. We'll rotate that around, but he was kind of our inspiration for that. But, Charlie Hustle, like, dude was on the Big Red Machine, one of probably the best offensive lineups ever, definitely in the National League. It's a lot of hits. 303 batting average. I saw this cool stat on like every surface, like turf, inside, outside, or day, night, turf, and grass, hit 303 consistently. Very consistent hitter. 17-time All-Star. That tells you. And Pete Rose's rookie card and second-year card, those cards are valuable if you can find those. His autograph isn't super valuable. I think his stuff will spike a little bit now that he's passed, but I don't think it's going to go crazy. It'll go up for a couple weeks, but people get emotional. That's how it goes. I just think you don't get to talk baseball and the history in the Hall of Fame without Pete Rose. So you don't have to enshrine him with a plaque, right? But he's got to be in there somehow. Just we'll do whatever. He bet on baseball. Like just say that. He was good for the sport. He talked to, anybody that would talk baseball, he would talk to him. I've heard so many stories from friends who got a chance to chat with him for a few minutes and get an autograph and get a photo that he was just a good guy. And, yeah, he admitted that he did bet on his own team. He bet on baseball. And, unfortunately, that's going to be his legacy for folks that don't know baseball. But watch some highlights of this guy. Head first slides, fearless, knocking over catchers, getting on base, just pure that era of baseball. I'd love to see that come back because that dude was hard-nosed, like one of the best ever. So the playoffs are here, and yesterday was the first day of the MLB playoffs, and every game I felt like was close. Really good game. Orioles gotta get some runs now. Bobby Witt got the only RBI in that game. Royals won that. Tigers won in Houston. Tigers look pretty good. I mean, Skubal got dominated. And then the pitcher, last name Key, for the Padres. Tatis had the home run, but this dude threw 12 Ks through 7. And I think the Padres staff, Michael King, 12 Ks, and he threw 7. And he was part of that trade for Soto, so from the Yankees, I think. That's pretty cool to see. The Padres staff had 15 Ks, but they look good. They look good in that game. The Mets continue to win. They're up 1-0. So we'll see what happens. We'll see who turns it around here. We got a game coming up here in like an hour, it's like 40 minutes. So the day games I always thought were like tough in the playoffs because how do you get work off or school? But stadium's packed. People just ditch, I guess, or it's remote work, so they should check out. A 2:30, a 4:30, a 7:30, 8:30. So full slate of games to be watching. Playoffs are here. I made this note to my dad yesterday about, 04, that was 20 years ago, the Red Sox run. And whatever Fox did on the broadcast, whether it was, McCarver and Buck, you say what you want. I like them. It just gives me the playoff vibe when they were talking and commentating on a game. But they did a way better job of mixing the sound from the crowd with the broadcast. Like, you felt like watching the game on TV, you were there. And I just feel like today, I don't know if they're trying to do this noise canceling, not to have bleed in the microphones, but I don't know. They're not miking the park correctly. People aren't loud. I'm pretty sure people are loud. It looks like packed. They're just that mix, like mix in the crowd noise. Like, give me that playoff feel. That's why I liked watching playoff baseball better than regular, because regular season, yeah, people aren't as into it, but you still get the sights and sounds. It's akin to like if I had the radio broadcast while watching the television broadcast at the same time. Like, give me the stadium sounds. So Fox, whatever you used to do that again and tell everybody else, because the sound mix right now is not good. Unless you go to a game and then you don't get the commentating, you just get the crowd noise. So I will be watching regardless. That's just my nitpick on it. Just bring that back. I like that. They're on the brink of elimination. Yeah, because wild card is 3 games. I got a chance to go with my buddy Chris to the last 1-game playoff they ever had, because they're not going to do it again unless they change something. But as far as I'm concerned, it was the last one ever. Red Sox Yankees 2021. Garrett Cole totally rattled because he was getting heckled in the bullpen. Didn't make it through an inning and a third, inning and 2/3. Bogarts homered early. It was the last time Jerry Remy was at Fenway Park. And before he passed, it was a special game, standing room, the whole game. Nobody sat down. Awesome. That's the playoff vibe. But, Red Sox were mid this year, so we don't get that. So playoffs are here. Rest in power, Pete Rose. One of the best. Let him in, don't let him in the traditional way. The Hall of Fame is a museum. That's how I feel about it. All right. See you tomorrow. Peace.